You remember the moment you learned to stop crying. Not because someone taught you resilience or emotional regulation or healthy coping. You learned to stop crying because no one came. You learned that your pain, your most vulnerable, desperate need for soothing, was met with silence, or worse, with irritation, with dismissal, with the cold understanding that you were alone in your suffering, and that this aloneness was permanent. So you became small, you became quiet, you learned to swallow the sob before it reached your throat. You learned to comfort yourself in the dark, to whisper reassurances that no one else would offer, to become both the hurt child and the absent parent in a single fractured body. And here's the paradox that has shaped your entire life. The very skill that allowed you to survive your childhood, this radical self-sufficiency, this ability to function without comfort, has become the prison that keeps you from ever truly connecting with another human being. You learned to never need anyone. And now, decades later, even when someone offers you tenderness, even when love is standing right in front of you with open arms, you cannot let it in. Your nervous system, wired in those early years of neglect, reads comfort as a threat, reads vulnerability as annihilation. You saved yourself by becoming unreachable, and now you cannot find your way back.
What we're discussing is a specific developmental trauma that psychologists call emotional neglect, the absence of attuned, consistent emotional responsiveness during the critical attachment period of early childhood. But it goes deeper than simple neglect. This is about the neurological rewiring that occurs when a child's bids for comfort are chronically ignored, creating what attachment theorist John Bowlby termed detachment, the third stage of separation distress, where the child stops seeking connection altogether. Think of the infant brain as a system designed for co-regulation. Mirror neurons fire, waiting for an empathetic response. The hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis activates during distress, flooding the small body with cortisol, desperately signaling, "I need you, come soothe this unbearable feeling." But when no one comes, when the parent is physically present but emotionally absent, or when they're inconsistent, dismissive, or overwhelmed by their own trauma, something catastrophic happens in the child's developing nervous system. The brain adapts. It has to. This is allostatic load, the biological cost of chronic stress adaptation. The child's brain literally rewires itself around the reality that comfort will not arrive. The default mode network, responsible for self-referential thought, begins to construct a narrative. My pain is too much. My needs are a burden. I am fundamentally alone. The vagus nerve, which should learn to downregulate through co-regulation with a caregiver, instead learns to freeze, to numb, to dissociate from the body's distress signals entirely. This creates what psychologists call disorganized attachment, the most severe attachment wound. The child develops contradictory internal working models, a desperate need for connection coupled with a deep terror of depending on anyone. They become, in psychoanalyst Donald Winnicott's language, a false self, a competent, self-sufficient facade built to hide the abandoned, terrified true self that was never permitted to exist. The metaphor is this: imagine a tree growing in a drought. Its roots never learn to reach deep into nourishing soil because there is no nourishment. Instead, the roots spread shallow and wide, constantly scanning, hypervigilant, ready to survive on whatever moisture appears at the surface. The tree grows. It may even appear strong, but it is fragile at its core, disconnected from its own ground, terrified of storms because it was never taught to anchor itself in something solid. You are that tree.
The price you paid for this survival strategy is nothing less than your authentic self. You learned that your pain had no witness.
that your emotional reality was irrelevant, that the most vulnerable parts of you, your fear, your loneliness, your desperate child need to be held, were unacceptable, so you buried them. You performed competence. You became the child who never asked for anything, who solved their own problems, who smiled when they were breaking inside. You became parentified, forced to become your own caregiver before you had a self to care for. And this created an invisible grief that you carry in your body every single day. It's the grief of never having been seen, the grief of having to mother yourself when you were still a baby, the grief of looking around at other people who seem to naturally accept love, who can cry in someone's arms without shame, who believe, truly believe, that their pain matters to another human being, and you cannot fathom how they do it. Carl Jung wrote, "The foundation of all mental illness is the unwillingness to experience legitimate suffering." But you never had the luxury of legitimate suffering. Your suffering was illegitimate. It was dismissed before it could even be felt. So instead of learning to move through pain with the support of an attuned other, you learned to bypass it entirely. You developed what psychologists call alexithymia, an inability to identify and articulate your own emotional states. Not because you're broken, but because emotions were literally dangerous in your childhood. They brought no comfort, only more abandonment. The philosophical weight of this is staggering. You learned at the most foundational level that you do not deserve tenderness, that your interiority, your inner world of feeling and need, is a burden to be managed alone. The existentialist philosophers spoke of the fundamental human terror of being truly seen. But for you, the terror is reversed. Your deepest fear is not being seen. It's what might happen if you are seen. If someone were to truly witness the abandoned child still living inside you, you're certain they would do what everyone else did. They would turn away. So you turn away first. You perform independence. You reject comfort before it can reject you. And in doing so, you live in what psychologist Bessel van der Kolk calls the tyranny of the past, endlessly repeating the original wound, ensuring that you remain forever uncomforted, forever alone, because that is the only reality your nervous system knows as safe. Fast forward to adulthood. You are now walking through life with this original wound running like a hidden code beneath every interaction, every relationship, every moment of potential intimacy. You might find yourself in relationships where you are the eternal caretaker, the one who listens, who soothes, who holds space for everyone else's pain while never revealing your own. You've become the therapist, the rock, the strong one. And the moment someone tries to reciprocate, to offer you the comfort you so desperately need, you minimize, you deflect. You say, "I'm fine, it's not a big deal, I've handled worse." You might experience a profound discomfort with emotional vulnerability that others read as coldness. When someone says, "I love you," you feel panic instead of warmth. When they ask, "How are you really feeling?" you go blank. Not because you're withholding, but because you genuinely cannot access the answer. Your inner world has been locked away for so long that you've lost the key. You might sabotage relationships precisely when they become most intimate. Just as someone gets close enough to see the real you, the hurt, undefended you, you create distance, you pick fights, you ghost. You suddenly discover deal breakers that weren't there before. This isn't cruelty. This is your nervous system screaming, danger, vulnerability, threat, abort. You might struggle with rest, with relaxation, with any state that requires you to let your guard down. Your body was trained to be hypervigilant, to never fully settle because settling meant being vulnerable to pain with no rescue coming. So even in safe environments, even in bed with someone who loves you, you cannot fully exhale. You cannot surrender to sleep,
to pleasure, to the simple softness of being held. You might find yourself attracted to emotionally unavailable people, not because you're masochistic, but because unavailability feels familiar. It confirms your deepest belief that you cannot depend on anyone, that you are fundamentally alone. Available, consistent love feels dangerous because it threatens to disprove the entire survival strategy you've built your life around. You might achieve extraordinary external success while feeling empty inside. You climbed mountains alone because no one was there to help. You became competent, capable, impressive, but the accolades feel hollow because they were never what you needed. What you needed was someone to notice you were struggling and sit beside you in the dark, and that never came. You might realize that you've spent your entire life performing, that there is a version of you that knows how to function in the world, how to meet expectations, how to be what others need. But you have no idea who you actually are beneath that performance. Your authentic self, your needs, your desires, your genuine emotional truth is a stranger to you. These are not personality traits. These are coping strategies. They are the brilliant, desperate adaptations of a child who had to survive in an environment of emotional scarcity. And the first step toward healing is witnessing this truth without judgment, not gaslighting yourself with "other people had it worse" or "I turned out fine," but actually looking at the small child you were and acknowledging you needed comfort, you deserved comfort, and you didn't get it, and that was wrong. So what does healing look like when the wound is this deep, this foundational? It begins with reparenting. You must learn to become for yourself what no one was for you. Not with cold self-sufficiency, but with genuine tenderness. This is internal family systems work. This is learning to recognize when the abandoned child part of you is activated, when you're feeling small, scared, unworthy, and instead of pushing that part away, you turn toward it. You place a hand on your own chest. You say out loud if you need to, "I see you. Your pain matters. You are not too much. I am not leaving." It requires somatic healing, learning to feel safe in your body again. Your trauma is not just in your memories, it's in your fascia, your breath patterns, your chronic muscle tension. Practices like trauma-informed yoga, EMDR, or somatic experiencing can help your nervous system learn what it never learned, that you can feel distress and survive it, that you can be vulnerable and remain intact. It demands relational repair, the courage to let someone see you, not the performed version, the real version. This is terrifying because it means risking the original wound that you will be seen and turned away from. But here's the profound truth. The only way to heal a relational wound is through relationship. You must find safe people, a therapist, a partner, a friend, who can hold space for your pain without trying to fix it, without dismissing it, without making it about them. And you must practice the excruciating vulnerability of saying, "I'm hurting, I need support." Psychologist Alice Miller wrote, "The truth about childhood is stored up in our body, and although we can repress it, we can never alter it. Our intellect can be deceived, our feelings manipulated, but the body cannot lie. Your body has been telling the truth all along, in your chronic tension, your insomnia, your inability to rest, your terror of touch. Healing means finally listening. And here's what you need to understand. The goal is not to become fixed. The goal is not to erase the past or to become someone who is never hurt. The goal is integration. It's learning to hold both truths simultaneously, that you are an adult with agency and choice, and that you carry within you a child who was abandoned and deserves compassion. That child doesn't need to be eliminated. They need to be welcomed home. You are not broken. You are brilliantly, painfully adopted to a childhood that required you to be. And now, in adulthood, you have the power to create a different story, not by denying what happened, but by finally giving yourself the comfort that should have always been your birthright. The scars remain, but they no longer have to dictate your capacity to be loved. If this resonated with something deep inside you, something you've never had words for, share this with someone who needs to know they're not alone. And subscribe, because understanding our wounds is the first step toward no longer being controlled by them. You were never too much. You were always enough, and you deserved to be held.